Okay, hey, I wanted to share with you something that I share every semester, kind of a little bit of life experience tied to a little bit of marketing. And a couple of examples here to share with you, talk to you about. A couple of jobs ago, I got hired and I learned a lot about, trying to understand a little about the company that you're going to go work for before just taking any job. A lot of lessons learned, but that's probably for another story, for another day. But after getting hired, I learned that the recently departed chief marketing officer (CMO) was the husband of my then boss, and he got fired because the sales team was not happy with his work. There was a fight between sales and marketing. And so she took over his role and had a very strong hatred towards the sales team. I didn't know this before going in, and I got hired to be the product manager and product marketing manager, one and the same role in a small company. So it means my role was to work with the development and developers in this software company to take features and code and technical lingo, translate that to customer lingo, and pass that on to the sales team and work with them creating sales collateral. With that being the case, my boss, and I didn't know this till I was hired, came to me and said, "You will not speak to the sales team if I'm not on the phone," greatly hindering my ability to do my job. So this company, Guava, group-wise antivirus agent, Guava, something else I should have picked up on, our logo was actually a cockroach. And the last person hired had the responsibility at the next trade show to dress up in the cockroach costume and dance around with a sign. Yes, that was my job. But we were for email and security systems. We were an antivirus, anti-porn, anti-Trojan horse, all that kind of stuff. We were kind of a security protection on top of software that was mainly developed by Novell. And I didn't last very long at the company, but I was hired in around September, if I remember, and knew immediately there was some extremely bad blood between sales and marketing. And it's not the first time that's happened, nor will it be the last. For some reason, in many organizations, sales and marketing don't get along, as if they're not even on the same team, when they're both really on offense. And if you're currently working, if you haven't, you will at some point in your career experience this kind of animosity between marketing and sales. Typically, it's marketing people complaining that salespeople are lazy, and salespeople complaining that marketing is incompetent. You can't deliver to them. So that being the case, that was September. In February, I know this date exactly. This was like February of 2012, 2013, 2012. I know the date because it was Super Bowl Sunday. Our CEO of the company, who was also new, called for a retreat at the company headquarters in Montreal, Canada. And you haven't experienced cold till you've experienced a wet cold versus the dry cold we have here in Utah. Wow. And so he called up for a retreat for the entire marketing team, 6 of us, and the entire sales team, 8, to go up and kind of have this retreat where we'd have a marketing and sales retreat. We went up there Super Bowl Sunday, which talk about frustrating because that's the best, food and fun party for your family. We went over to the CEO's house, not the CEO, but the owner's house, lived in Montreal. And I remember this Super Bowl because I didn't care about who was playing, excited to see the commercials. And it turns out in Canada, they don't show the commercials, they show Canadian commercials, which I didn't know much about their companies. So it made for a most uneventful Super Bowl for me. The only thing I do remember is my buddy teaching me about geocaching, and decided to teach me in Montreal, Canada, 20 below at like midnight. So we went out to parks and I climbed trees trying to find geocaches. Kind of cool. It's like treasure hunting. It's just not cool when it's 20 below and you're not ready for bitter cold, wet, cold. So anyway, that was the Sunday before. The following Monday, the marketing team, sales team get to this office. We've got a conference room, conference table with 12 seats in it, with 14 of us showing up. Yeah, start with that. And I remember this vividly. We get there, we're just kind of talking, segregated in our own areas, and in walks the CEO with a 24-pack of water bottles. He puts them down on the middle of the conference table and says, "Work your shit out." He walks out of the room and locks us in the conference room and walks away. And just silence until the usual problems we talked about, right? Sales isn't closing leads, they're not even following up, marketing's giving us garbage, marketing doesn't do their job, marketing's irrelevant, sales, is lazy, and for quite a while we had this problem. So finally, I asked if I could just take a minute. I was pretty young at the company, but I just said, "Hey, let me take a minute." And over here is something I drew on the board. What I drew on the board was on the y-axis, this says quality, and this quality is inversely related to quantity when it comes to leads on average, right? So high quality, low quantity, high quantity. And I drew this on the board, and of course, right, this isn't real brain surgery, right? But it is the fact that as the quality of leads decreases, the quantity increases, or however you want to say it, right? But the idea is that through some sort of process, and many companies have a process like this, and many still don't. But if you've never heard of these two terms, MQL or SQL, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead. Most companies will come up with a scoring system to qualify their leads, okay? So if this person was at a trade show, they start, at a 1 in terms of quality. And then if that person at the trade show, we email them and they respond to us. And if they respond to us and they visit our website, and they download a white paper, and then they reach out to us, right? You're seeing the quality of lead get better, and we score them based on the kind of activities and engagements they have with the company. And many companies either have MQLs or SQLs, and many of the larger firms, MQLs turn into SQLs, and they're two different scoring systems. If you don't have these two terms on your resume, after this video, you should. Okay, this is very important. It's managerial. It's talking about how we can make some sort of science for our effort. But that being the case, okay, what we're talking about, and usually if you're in sales, if any of you've been through sales, think just briefly, how many sales deals can you engage with daily? If you're knocking doors, maybe 100 doors on your best day, okay? But if you're doing a B2B sale that has a 12-month sales cycle, and it's anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million deal, it takes a lot of time to prepare, engage, and work through that sales cycle, okay? So marketing, right? In marketing, we were claiming, not 10,000. We were claiming we were offering 8,000 leads a month to the sales team, okay? Now remember, that's a team of 8 salespeople. And we were saying, look, we're doing our job. We're sending you thousands of leads a month, and you're doing nothing with them. And the sales team's retort obviously was, your leads are garbage. And to some extent, they were. They weren't all, we didn't have an MQL, we didn't have a scoring system. We had all leads are created equal. And to be honest, sometimes they were garbage. I remember specifically at one of the trade shows, I was given the assignment and my pay was based on how many badges I could scan with the scanner gun that we were given. As a keynote sponsor, we could have this gun and we could scan their badges and it would give us, who's at the show, name, rank, serial number type of thing, right? So my task was to go around to every single person I could find at that trade show who had a badge and scan them. And if they came to our trade show, I had to scan them again so we could see how many people were coming. But I got paid on how many scans I did. So you're darn right. I went to that entire trade show for thousands of people and scanned every badge I could find. It was a little creepy. I was like, boop, 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 all over the place, scanning random people. And we in marketing said, that's a qualified lead, man. If they were at that trade show, that must mean they want our service. And of course, that's not always the case. But if you look at 8 salespeople, how many leads a month could they follow up on? Keep in mind, they were also their own account managers. Right? Each of them had almost a $2 million book of business, 20 or 30 clients that they're trying to maintain year over year. And they already have to take care of those, plus grow the business, right? So you look at where marketing was at, and you look at where sales possibly could execute on, and you see a misalignment. And when sales and marketing are not getting along, this misalignment is by far the most common reason, not because of name calling. This is what I usually see. That either marketing's not delivering qualified enough leads, right? Or there's not enough salespeople to follow up on those leads, right? This is kind of a misalignment, right? That basically sales is saying, I don't have time to follow up on 8,000, divide that by 8, 1,000 leads a month. I just don't have time. I can't do it. And marketing is saying, well, you're not doing your job. So this really kind of left us in an impasse as to where our organization was. And we really only have 1 or 2 options. Okay, if you're looking at this, and I would ask you in class to say, what could we do about this? Well, it's kind of simple. We have marketing do a better job at qualifying these leads before we hand them off to the sales team. It's option 1. Or more sales. We have the sales team hire inside sales, SDRs, whatever you want to call it, and have them start qualifying the leads. Well, the reason why I didn't last at this company very long, there's many reasons, but one of them was because marketing, my boss was extremely unhappy that I talked about this because the sales team quickly ganged up on the idea of, oh, well, yeah, marketing needs to qualify, but yeah, they suck. Oh, Dave, you're so smart. Oh, and they made me look like I was on their team, right? I mean, they just pounced. They pounced on this and just said, yep, marketing's leads suck. You're right. That's the only solution is for marketing to do more. Well, the reason they all pounced on this, and this is kind of an organizational problem, these 8 sales reps have been with the company for nearly 20 years, almost as long as they've been in business. Because when the business was formed, the CEO actually divided up the territories and gave these salespeople, ready for this, lifetime access to that territory. Meaning they owned that territory for the life of the business. But he said to them, you can own that territory, but if you want more sales in that territory, you have to pay for it out of your own commissions. Now, one of the other challenges is if each salesperson has about $2 million book of business, and if his commission's 25%, that's $500,000 a year that he or she is making. How much harder do they really want to work? Right? That I didn't bring that up specifically, but there's clearly a problem that they're not real incentivized to give up that commissions to hire more sales or even really close more deals unless they just fell into their lap, right? They really wanted 10s that were basically closed, and they could just be an account manager for them, as over the time, they built their book of business and was kind of pretty happy with it. So this impasse that marketing and sales at this company were at lasted for quite a while. It didn't get much better, and the company eventually was sold. But this misalignment between marketing and sales is intuitive in the fact that it's not that we're incapable on either side. It's just that we're not playing the same game. And marketing and sales need to get together better and align themselves better. And that's usually done through some sort of qualifying lead system. That's one of the things you could bring up if it's not there, about understanding a little bit more depth as to your customer. This kind of ends up falling more on marketing in B2B companies, because in B2B companies, it's very easy for the salesperson to say, well, the sale happened, that was because of me, and they must have bought because of me, when probably there were 8 to 10 touch points that marketing was responsible for that got to that sale. And so this kind of even pushes more on marketing. And if you think about it, if you're B2C, you almost remove the salesperson entirely in some cases, and it's entirely marketing. And marketing needs to understand about where their buyer is in the process, who's more likely to buy, which we're going to talk about here in a second, and what it takes to get them there. So great life lesson for me was understanding that marketing and sales were not incompetent in various aspects, but were just misaligned. And I've had a lot of fun talking to teams about this and kind of really revamping their mission to be aligned together and having a lot of success. So really important lesson there. I'm going to end this video and talk about this one here, give you another video just to kind of wrap up. So I think this is kind of another interesting way of talking about something. So thanks.